Recording in progress.
Good evening, and welcome to this meeting of the Old Kings Highway Committee of the Town of Yarmouth, which is being held in accordance with Chapter 470 of the Acts of 1973 as amended at 7:15 p.m. on Monday, February 24th, 2025 at the Yarmouth Town Hall Hearing Room located at 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth. Moreover, pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, considering certain COVID-19 measures, this meeting is being run in hybrid mode, by which I mean active live participation, Zoom participation. Conceivably, there may be some phone participation as well. 11 new applications for certificates of appropriateness will be heard this evening in the order listed on the agenda. Please be reminded that our committee's main purpose is to review items for appropriateness and setting, and it is the responsibility of the applicant to comply with the regulations of other town boards and departments, including building, conservation, engineering, health, zoning, and the sign inspector. You should know that there is a 10 calendar day appeal period starting once the decision is filed with the town clerk. Any person aggrieved by our decision tonight can appeal to the Regional Commission of the Old Kings Highway Historic District. Our office administrator, Lisa Sherman, will be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding that process. And as some of you may have heard before, respecting process, our process here is to have the applicant and or the applicant's representative or representatives, if present, come before us to the table in front of me, speak into the microphones, identify yourself or yourselves, state your proposal without interruption by this committee or other members of the public, after which I will ask the committee to make comments and or ask questions, and following that, I will ask the public, if interested, to make questions, to ask questions or make comments. So before we begin, I want to welcome new committee members, Sarah Porter to my far left, who is our architect representative, and John Grady to my far right, who is a new alternate on this committee. The first application to be heard tonight is 24-A012. It's to construct an addition to the right elevation of 979 Route 6A. Karen Lane is the owner, Scott Jones is the agent, and who do we have tonight? Just saw Karen today, and she said she would be on Zoom.
There's a Karen on Zoom. Hang on, let me see.
I think that may be her then.
She's trying to call her.
I am here. Can you hear
Great.
me?
There we go. Now we can.
So tell us about your application, Karen.
So I'm looking to put on an addition for my special needs sister. And it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, about a 700 square foot. And there is a couple of things on here that the Scott Jones, the agent, did submit. But he has white as the color of the front of my house. That is actually Stargaze, so it'll stay the same as the front of my house, and it'll be Stargaze. So that's one correction that I want to make on this application. And the shutters will remain white and the trim white with ASACs white. And then the other thing is he does have a deck off the back, which I do want to do for her. But he has here pressure treated, natural, but we want to do the Trek. And the color that we would like to do on that would be the compost gray with white railings and black spindles. So that's a little different than what I have, just so that it's easy maintenance for her because she's special needs. But other than that, I think everything else on here is correct. Any other questions or anything else you need to know from me?
Well, that was about what I was just about what I was going to ask. Any questions or comments from the committee regarding the application?
I do, yes. Hi, Karen. So on the elevation, there's a note that says that the shingles on the roof of the addition are going to be composite. The application says asphalt, so I'm a little confused. Do you know what they're actually going to be? Is it asphalt or composite? I've never heard
It's
of
going to be the
composite.
same as what I currently have. I believe it's asphalt.
Okay. And I noticed you also have an existing deck off the main part of the house.
Yes.
I'm curious what kind of railings that has.
That is actually it is cedar. It's old.
Okay.
Needs to probably be replaced. And when I do, it will match what she had, what I'm asking for her.
So is it white currently, or is it like a wood, some sort of a wood finish?
It's more of a wood finish,
Okay.
like a mahogany. Yeah.
I was just thinking that perhaps the railing should match on the two decks, but you say you might be replacing the railings on the
Yeah,
existing
I
deck.
may even be replacing or even removing my deck soon, and just doing a step down to a patio.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Are we clear on,
I'm sorry, one more question about the windows on the addition. There's a window on the gable end of the addition that has no grids. Are all the windows going to match the existing on the main part of the house?
Yes, it will. I don't know what they have for the kitchen window. That might not have, and that does front 6A. So that might not have the panes in it. I don't know what they had
Oh, I
on
see.
that.
Is that the one to the right of the door, Karen?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So is that more likely a casement window that cranks out or something?
Yes, correct.
other questions or comments from the committee?
No, I don't have any.
Are we clear on the changes of color that you specified?
It's going to match existing, right?
Questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion on this application.
Move to approve application 25-A012.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And aye. Okay, congratulations, Karen.
Thank you.
I think you can put your monocle on that, sir. Approved somewhere here.
The next item on the agenda is 25-A013. It's to replace 14 windows at 204 Setauket Road. Erin Gogan DeLuise and Chris DeLuise are the owners. And who do we have this evening?
Hi, good evening. I'm Chris Louise, owner. Yes, we're looking to replace 14 windows on the house. Current status of the windows, some are in, well, most of them have seals broken, so there's discoloration and there's energy inefficiency and drafts. So a majority of them require replacing, and the balance of them are near or close. So in an effort for consistency, we'd like to just replace all of them at one time. The windows will be white, and the grill pattern on them now are 12 over 12, but the ones we're proposing are 2 over 2.
Is that it? Questions or comments from the committee?
You'll keep the trim as it is?
That's correct.
So why did you want to switch the grill pattern from 12 over 12 to 2 over 2?
The 12 over 12 is pretty encumbering, just seeing out of the house, or even if I'm walking around the house looking in. But it's obviously the grill pattern's an aesthetic decision, right? So
Right.
we're favoring the 2 over 2, and I was looking for any references for specifications on what the historic committee prefers for grill spacing, and I didn't find any. And driving around the historic area, I did notice that consistency seemed to be weighed more heavily than the grill spacing in itself, and if the windows had grills. So we'd like to propose the 2 over 2.
Personally, I think that with the style of the house, which is, it's not an early house, but it looks like a full cape. It's a full cape. It looks like an early house. And traditionally, they had 12 over 12, so I don't know, I have to think about that. the grill
Yes, it
pattern.
was built in the late 80s.
Sorry?
The late 80s, the house was constructed.
Yeah, that's, I would consider that to be a mitigating factor.
Okay,
And if you're proposing grids between the glass,
that's correct.
so 12 over 12 wouldn't make it any different to clean it if it's in between the glass.
Yeah, that's correct. That's,
just a visual.
cleaning would be negligible to this proposal. Would the board be amenable to a 4 over 4?
I don't know, I think it's kind of what do you think about the style?
Well,
being the
I'd
style
like to
with
say
it?
something. I think the 12 over 12 is a little too, I'll use the word busy.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
6 over 6 is okay, but throughout this history of architecture, even in the 1800s, people changed the windows to comply what was ever in style. I have no objection to 2 over 2. 4 over 4 I don't think would work very well. 6 over 6 would be okay. I am fine with the 2 over 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree, either 2 over 2 or 6 over 6. Do any of the other members of the committee feel strongly about this issue?
I agree. No,
Okay.
I agree with Bob.
2 over 2 or 6 over 6. I mean, I don't feel strongly about it, it's just something I wanted to bring up.
But we don't feel strongly enough to make a recommendation or...
I just wanted to bring it up as something to discuss. point to
Okay.
discuss, that's all.
Okay.
Not that I'm opposed to it, I just thought it would be something we should discuss.
Okay. Well, I should ask the applicant, how do you feel about the issue of grills? You want 2 over 2s? How strongly do you feel about it?
That's correct. So if there's no objection with 2 over 2.
You'd like
we'd
that,
move forward
okay.
with that.
Any questions or comments from the public, especially abutters? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on this application.
Move to approve 25-A1A013, sorry.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of approving the application signify by saying aye.
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 And aye. So if you will be kind enough to come up and sign this document, which simply signifies if you decide, oh, I think I would rather have 6 over 6 or some other change, you'll let us know. You're welcome. Great. Good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's an apple. No, I watch.
Oh, it's an apple.
You can customize whatever you want on the screen. All sorts of different things. Thanks.
The next item on the agenda is 25-A014. It's to install 50 solar panels on the barn roof at 72 Nob Hill Road. Craig Williams is the owner. Katuitt Solar LLC is the agent.
Hi, my name is Leah. I'm with Katuitt Solar and Craig Williams, the property owner. We're proposing roof-mounted solar array comprised of 50 panels, black on black, on the maintenance building, and the building's used to store and maintain farm equipment. And the goal is for the solar panels to produce enough energy, enough electricity to offset flooding the cranberry bogs and the electric loads for irrigation. And I just wanted to highlight that Greg was awarded a grant from the Mass Department of Energy Resources for the solar installation project. It's $50,000 grant to cover the cost of the install. And the program is to help support farmers with clean energy and reduce their environmental footprint.
It's part of a climate smart program.
All right, good for you. Questions or comments from the committee?
I'm fine with it.
Any questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on this application.
Move to approve 25-A014.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And aye. Congratulations, if you sign this.
So beautiful out there. Just
A lot of work though, right?
Oh, yeah.
been out there for about 20 years.
You can put it in, or I can put it in. It'll get done.
24th?
Today's the
Katie is
24th.
going to
I
all these
know,
different
it's
types of
really,
time that you-
it's great. When I was working, I got to see properties everywhere.
No.
I miss that.
You're all set. Thank you. You're welcome.
Good luck, good to see you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is 25-A015. It's to install 20 solar panels on the two side roofs at 38 Brush Hill Road. Philippe Generoso is the owner. Sunrun Installation Services is the agent. I recognize the agent.
Hello, Steve Kelly from Sunrun. Good to see you.
Remember the committee.
We're proposing to put 20 panels on the house at 38 Brush Hill Road. The house is perpendicular to the street, so you have the two sides. We've got symmetric panels, symmetric arrays on both sides, where we've got 12 and 8, so that we have square, rectangular arrays. Black on black panels, pretty straightforward.
That's it, Steve?
Yes, thank you.
Questions or comments from the committee?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public. None there either. And now I'll entertain a motion on the application.
Move to approve application 25-A015.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And aye.
Thank you.
So you know
Thank you.
to sign? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. See you soon.
Okay.
So long.
Bye, Steve.
The next item on the agenda is 25-A016, is to replace the right side elevation siding at 87 Freeboard Lane. Dennis Brisson and Maureen McAdam are the owners.
Hi, good evening, Dennis
evening.
Brisson.
Maureen McAdam. We're proposing to replace our worn siding on the two-story garage face of the house that's just worn, dried out, with hardy siding in a color to match what is on the rest of the house.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the committee on this application?
So that end of the house currently has cedar shakes that are painted, right? But you want to put in clapboards, hardwood clapboards, so that'd be a change to clapboards. Okay, thank you.
And the rest of the house, it looks like in the front, it has both clapboards and the,
Both.
and the color is the same as the rest of the house?
Yes.
Other questions or comments from the committee? Questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on the application.
Move to approve application 25-A016.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And aye. So if you'll sign this document, which, as you may have heard, only becomes relevant if you want to make any changes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Right there, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The next item on the agenda is 25-A017. It's to construct a shed at 27 Minnetuxet Way. Mark and Robin Nason are the owners.
Nice, Jim Bassler here for Robin and Mark.
Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
So, tell us.
Just a new garden shed. Nothing special.
Man, a few words.
For the fans, right?
All right. Questions or comments from the committee on this application?
Material, is it going to be, what's,
Is it me or can I, is the location identified?
yeah.
Yeah, it's on the flat.
Is it the old shed?
It's behind the house.
Barely see it from the road.
Ah, sorry. Thank you.
So is it wood clapboard, or
Yeah.
wood shingles, white cedar shingles?
Wood clapboard on the
Sorry.
front side and shingles on the rest to match the house.
And this roof will match and window grill pattern, all that good stuff.
The site plan shows an existing shed.
The existing shed is no longer there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The existing shed does not exist.
It's just not, yeah, well done, yeah, very good, very good,
Existing shed.
Okay.
Paper shed.
very good.
Other questions or comments from the committee?
No.
Not from me.
It's good to meet you.
Questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public? Nice-looking shed. So, I'll entertain a motion on the application.
Anybody else want to make a motion besides Paul and me?
Seconded.
Does anybody else want to make a
I'll
motion
make a
besides Paul and me?
motion that we
Share
accept
the
this
wealth.
as presented.
Okay. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And aye. So, Jim, you know, if you decide to change anything, you'll let us know.
Name on it all the time.
I'm sorry.
Put in my minutes, my name in the minutes all the time.
very much.
Thank you.
You didn't knock the sign over, Jim. He's practiced.
Are we missing a signature on this?
Pardon?
Did you sign it, John?
I think so.
John's on there.
We've only got 4 signatures.
Must be to your left, sir. If you're on, who are we missing?
Someone not
Existing.
signed.
I did, sign that, 1, 2,
Did
3,
you?
4. I guess I
You wrote over someone else's signature.
wrote it next to it, I guess. Mm. Sorry. Can you
Bad.
sign it again, bottom?
No, it's all right. We'll accept it. The next item on the agenda is 25-A018. It's to construct an addition to the left side elevation at 36 Bent Bluff Lane. Patricia Clifford is the owner. New England Home Improvements is the agent.
Good evening. I'm Eduardo, the owner of New England Home Improvement. So what we're proposing is a 20 by 20 addition on the left elevation of this home. We're going to keep all the same finishes, AZEK trim, dipped Maybach shingles, black roof, white windows, same grill patterns. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Questions or comments from the committee?
I have no questions or comments.
Would appear not. Questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public?
Mr. Chairman, I think we have someone online who'd like to speak. Carol? Yes.
Carol,
Hi.
you, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My name is Carol Lamson. I am, I guess, technically across the street. I'm at 33 Bent Bluff Lane from this property, and that property is a short-term rental house. It is not owner-occupied. Unlike every other house on our little street on Bent Bluff Lane and Rise Knoll Path. So our Bent Bluff Lane and Rise Knoll Path, I'm sure members of the committee came down here to take a look. I know you guys are really responsible that way. There are 10 houses out here, and every one of them is occupied by a year-round resident, a year-round owner, except for the house that's having the addition. And we already have a problem in the spring, summer, and fall from the weekly tenants that come zooming up and down the street to this house. And there's almost no parking for that house as it is. And I notice, I looked through the application, I don't see any increase to parking, but this would be a 1/3 increase to capacity for that rental house. I have concerns.
And what do you see as the relevance to this committee, Carol, for your concerns?
I had thought that one of the things that this committee assessed was appropriateness. Wouldn't appropriateness of increasing the size of the short-term rental house in a neighborhood that maybe where it's not the perfect placement for it? I don't know, you tell me, is that
Well,
appropriate?
the fact that it's a rental or owned is not relevant to what we do. As far as appropriateness and setting goes, yes, in this respect, if we, as a committee, felt that the scale of the addition or the detailing of the condition or the style of the condition or any number of factors rendered it inappropriate for the setting, then yes, we could deny on that basis. But,
I see.
but has nothing to do with whether the house is owned or rented. Parking isn't within our purview either. So
I
I
see.
appreciate your concern, but this is not the body to deal with it.
May I just
Okay.
add one point?
Sure.
Patricia and Brian do plan on retiring soon, so that means within the next year. So that will no longer be a rental.
Okay.
Well, they told me that 3 years ago when I bought this place, so I believe it when I see it, but thank you.
Yeah. There are other boards that will have to approve on this, so this is just the
Thank
first
you.
stop, Carol.
I'll call town tomorrow, I appreciate it. I wasn't sure if this was the right venue, thank you.
It's okay. Always happy to hear from the public, especially abutters. So, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on the application.
I move that we accept the application
Okay.
as presented.
Seconded.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And aye. So if you'll sign this in case you want to, you might not want to increase the size, but if you want to make any changes, you'll let us know.
It's a tight squeeze to fit this in. It's a tight squeeze to fit this in. There's no place to work. Sign it someplace where Cindy won't write over it.
Sorry.
That's my line. I write on that side.
Richard Gangworth used to sign in a different place every application.
He did? You paid attention to that? The next item on the agenda is 25-A019. It's to replace the deck, windows, and siding and paint the house at 164 Merchant Avenue. Francine D'Olimpio and Rebecca Matarazzi are the owners. Sea Salt Homes is the agent.
Good evening, Dan Lully, Sea Salt Homes. Just doing a pretty basic remodel on 164 Merchant Ave. Francine and Rebecca are actually on Zoom as well if we have any other questions for them. Basically replacing all the windows, doors, white cedar clap on the sides, paint, trim. Sides of the home will be clear white cedar. The front of the home is going to be Coventry gray. The new doors will be Buckland blue. The windows will be Anderson 400s white. The only thing I noticed on the deck, it shows spindles. We were hoping to do like a cable rail system.
On the deck?
Yes. Just because it's, the marsh is right there and the
And
view
what
would be
kind of
better.
posts and top would you have on that?
They would be white,
I mean-
PVC.
AZEK?
Yeah.
Okay. The post would be AZEK too?
Yeah, I think there was a
It's supported.
picture of something similar on the,
Strong enough to support it.
possible.
Do you have a chip for the blue?
There's always wood underneath the AZAC.
Hey, Bob, do you have a chip on the?
I
have
do.
the chip for the gray, but not the blue.
Yeah, this is not the blue.
It didn't print. No, it's a little bright, right?
That would be it?
That's closer, yeah. I don't know if it,
That's a photocopy.
That's not it.
Well, that's a photocopy. I mean, this is a chip for the
Oh, I
gray.
don't have the chip.
Do you have the chip for the blue? Or no?
I don't have a chip for either one.
I have the chip for the gray.
Is it Benjamin Moore?
There's the gray. That's the,
Oh, okay. Oh, it's tiny. Oh, yes.
This Benjamin
yes, yes.
Moore?
Yeah, these are
yes.
Benjamin Moore colors. Okay. Is that it?
yeah, I mean, the only major differences on the windows, on the side, there's a few window changes that, the triple windows, the triple double hungs right now will turn into sliders, and the double hung in the upstairs master will be a picture with, a double hung on each side.
triple double hung, is it going to be casement slider?
It will, it's a regular 8-foot slider. We're removing the
I'm
triple.
sorry, I thought you had a window.
We're removing those windows, and then there'll be
Putting a
sliders.
sliding door
Correct.
instead of the windows. Where's that going?
Okay, that's on the side with the deck.
Facing the
The
water.
right side, yes.
Facing the water.
Oh, so there's the cable rail system. Okay.
Here's the blue.
Very good.
Grayish blue.
Thank you.
It's kind of like a blue we saw in an earlier application, I think.
So what are the grid patterns now in the house?
There's no grills. I mean, the only one that, some of the half-light doors have 9 lights or,
But there's no grills in the windows
No.
currently. And the new windows are going to be,
the same.
what material?
They're Anderson 400s.
Sorry, Anderson, what?
400s,
But is it vinyl, wood?
white, yeah, they're
Let's see what it says in here.
permaclad, permashield.
Wood clad, I see.
So the replacement of, to the sliders, or the replacement of the sliders, that's not part of the application, correct? This is,
The
not
windows to
stated.
the new sliders,
yeah.
they are in the, correct, they are in the application.
But where does it show where the slider's going?
On the plans on the right elevation.
I'm looking on the description of proposed work. Then replace windows, replace siding, I guess you could say it is,
Right.
falls under the category of replace windows. Replace siding, paint house, remove and replace deck and rails.
I think doors were in there as well. I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure.
Maybe they're in the list.
It's not, I don't think it's listed, but it shows it in the picture. So is this the one here in the,
Correct.
so that's, is a lower level walkout then in that? So
The lower levels staying the same. It's
Then we-
actually the sliders that go to the deck.
Right, on this level.
Currently, they're
Is this
windows.
a lower level walkout? Is that below
Correct,
grade?
yes.
Yes? So there are these two that you're replacing the sliders?
Correct.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if we need an amendment
We do.
on this application. All right.
Yeah, you mean regarding the sliders?
Well, it's not part of the
It
application.
doesn't say, it shows in the photo.
If we're going to vote on it tonight, we should dot the i's and cross the t's and amend it.
It's not listed.
Is that it?
I think so, unless you have any other questions.
PVC.
Questions or comments from the committee?
It says new doors. Oh, that's for the lights, okay. Sorry, never mind.
Replace deck and rails. And the deck flooring, is that going to be AZEC?
Correct.
Has any of this stuff been done yet?
No.
Okay, just the, no,
The
I know they
separate,
removed the chimney previously.
Correct. That
And then they
was,
put a
we
new
removed
roof or
that.
just patched the roof?
We patched it.
Okay. Other questions or comments from the committee? Questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this application.
Were you seeking to add an amendment before a vote? Or were you,
We will move to approve the application as amended.
Amended, so
So you're making
move
that
to,
motion?
yes, I am.
Okay, is there a second?
Move to approve.
Okay.
second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And aye.
So just so I'm clear, there's 2 sets of windows are becoming sliders or just one?
2 sets.
2 sets of windows.
Correct. The framing's all the same. It's the same exact size.
What did I say?
You said windows, but you mean sliders, right?
So if you'll come up and sign this in case you want to make any changes, you'll let us know. Thank you. Now, just wait for, actually, don't have to wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, he should have signed this. See if you can get him to sign it before he
Oh,
runs out.
okay.
Thanks.
Dan.
Dan.
Dan, you have to sign that amendment.
Sorry, I was remiss. So. Print on this is faint, but I think you can see it where it says you're. That's it.
Codes improvement.
Now you can go.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Is this a trick?
Thank you.
I'm going to let you finish this.
That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. The next item on the agenda is 25-A020. It's to replace decking and railings on the front porch at 73 Bray Farm Road South. Andrew and Marion Varley are the owners. Thomas Smith and Jean Bowden are the agents. And who do we have tonight?
I'm here, Jean Bowden. How are you tonight?
We're fine, Jean. How are you?
Good.
Good.
So this is a lovely front porch on a beautiful house, and the railing and the decking definitely needed to be replaced, and they're going to be changing the material to the, of course, AZAC TimberTech. They're going to use the traditional trademark railing, and it'll be in white, so it'll look like what's there. And the decking, which I don't think anyone's going to see at all unless they're right up there, but it will be slate gray, which is also by AZAC TimberTech. So I don't think it's going to look much different, but it's certainly going to hold up better. This is older and it's kind of, failing, the decking and, well, the railing especially.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Questions or comments from the committee?
Yeah, hi, Carol. It's Jean. Hi, Jean. It looks
Hi.
like the project's already underway. Like the railings are down and the deck surface has already been replaced. I saw the new stringers up for the new front steps.
Well,
So is
I
that-
guess he started, and I said to him, "You can't do that." The carpenter that for the builder, and he puts the railing back, and he did just start a little bit there, but he stopped.
So the railing was
So-
not there at 4:30 this afternoon. Now
So
I'm
it's
by.
basically, the building permit you need, of course, for any type of structural, which is the railing and some of the stringers, but everything is gonna pretty much look the same, but he's gonna use a different material. Or,
Have they already done a framing inspection?
pardon me?
Has the town already done a framing inspection?
No, he's gonna be getting one.
Well, good you're on the job, Gene. We appreciate that.
Well, I kind of, people come to me because I'm sort of on them, about what should be done and what is right to do, especially a railing has to be safe. And it's a beautiful home and the owners are, the house is really nice.
Okay.
And so, I'm sorry, what did you say the material on the railing was going to be? You said it's going to be traditional, but what, is that going to be?
Well, the railing is a traditional style railing, they call it, but it's their trademark railing. I did put some specs for trademark in there. It's got like a cap at the top. So that's in their, AZAC, they call that the traditional style, but then you have a choice of different railings, and the owners have picked the trademark rail, which is there's 4 choices, but they're very similar. But it's the one, I don't know, I did submit this. So I think a lot of the houses in that area, people are switching to this now. And that's one that seems to get approved, that particular model usually for Old Kings Highway and other historic districts.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, I see the trademark rail on the final page here that shows the newel post and the top rail, but what are the spindles? Are they like 2-inch square?
It's gonna
or
be
1
just
inch square?
straight,
Sorry?
yeah, just straight down.
Like square, just square?
Yes. It's gonna try to be pretty much look like what's there as far as the spindle.
I'm saying that, but there's nothing there.
We've got a page
I have
showing a number of different
I have a picture
options.
of the railing, and I guess they put it back on. It reattached it because he had to have a railing. He took some of it off.
Are you familiar with this page, Endless Design Options? Timber Tech page shows a different number of different options. Gene?
Is that, it says Timber Tech, and then it has the different type of, there's Premier, Radiance,
No,
Trademark.
A couple pages before that, Gene, in the application.
Okay, so all of a sudden, everything's mixed up here, so let me find it. I have. So basically, it says choose the right rail, is that what you're talking about? Or
We've
the
got-
endless
Yeah, the one
design, oh, I see that one. That one, I don't know, that one probably is just like an ad of the railing. I think it's the choose the right rail would
Okay.
be the,
And which
Yeah.
one is and which one are you choosing of those 12?
Well, or the two
going to
right
be
rails.
trademark white railing with just the straight railing spindles.
So square,
little caps.
square,
The
what
top
you're
is
calling
gonna be
spindles?
Yeah, I'm calling them spindles, but it's that's more, what's gonna show mostly is the cap.
Right.
And
and
that one he picked was the, what they call the trademark.
Trademark,
one.
okay.
I mean, they do, yeah, that's the actual, there's a choice of others, I mean, there's
But you're
trademark.
choosing the
Premier.
trademark one.
Yes.
Okay.
Pages and
Now,
Rails.
that's the most important decorative element.
Right.
As far as the railing, the entire railing is concerned, you have
Just more
several different,
simple.
there are slight changes, slight differences, variations, but do you have reference to these pages?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh,
Do you know which one it is?
Well, I don't I see the endless, I mean, I really don't exactly know which one he sent me.
Pick
you know,
one.
basically
So,
these.
Gene, there's 12 on this endless design options. We kind of like to know which one they're picking.
Well, it's got to be the one that's, I think it's the one that's sort of 1, 2, 3 down to the middle. That's what, I'm pretty sure it looks like that,
You see that? That's this.
'cause it has the cap.
That's empty.
The three down to the middle is a blank.
It's white on white, so it
Well,
doesn't
see,
copy well.
well, it's funny because I see it on this, but maybe it didn't get,
There is,
copied
yeah.
properly.
yeah,
I guess because it's in white, you can't see it. I mean,
There's a faint,
I don't see it.
it's
Hard to
faint, I'm
tell
sorry
from
to
this
say.
copy for sure.
Yeah, I can see it, but I think when I scanned and emailed it, it gets, the email kind
what
of
about the
washes it
bottom,
away.
what the bottom row right? Is that similar?
Well, that's sort of, only showing it, that's exactly it, only in another color.
Okay, fine.
Darker, so it's like a
It looks
gray.
like that, but in white.
Okay.
Only
Okay.
in white, yes, because
I was just trying to understand what it's going to look like.
no, I mean, next time I'm gonna get the real, I usually use the actual booklet rather than copies like this that someone sent me. It was kind of a last minute thing, but,
All right.
yeah, it is, I can see where that might not have transferred very well into an email for scanning and copying.
So we're talking about the bottom right hand
Yes, only it'll be
on what
white.
looks like page 33.
33,
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
yes.
Okay, so,
Sorry about that.
we've sleuthed it out. So,
A lot of moving
any,
parts in this.
Well, it's quite far off the road, actually, but you're right.
Oh,
The
it's
thing you're
been
gonna
very
see are
nice.
those caps.
You can.
It's set way back.
It's most obvious from the road.
so any
It's a long driveway.
other questions or comments from the committee? Any questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion on the application now that we're clear on what it is.
I move to approve application 25-A020.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And aye. Thank you, Jean.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Have a nice night.
You too.
That's familiar. She was the agent, so I just wondered. Like representing her, either as a vendor is doing the work, but I don't think that's her. It's someone else. I don't think she is, unless she's the architect. I don't know if she's an architect.
The next application on the agenda is 25-A021. It's to paint the front door and remove the storm door at 43 Summer Street. James and Annette Ball are the owners. Do we have James or Annette present tonight? Or on
Yes, you
Zoom?
do. This is Jim Ball.
Oh, good.
Hi, Jim.
So
Hi,
tell
good
us,
evening.
Jim.
Hi. We are hoping to remove the metal storm door, which is like a tic-tac green, and repaint the wood door a Benjamin Moore historic color 159 called Phillipsburg Blue. which is on the pre-approved list.
Looks nice. And so you're going to just eliminate the storm door altogether, Jim?
Correct.
Okay. Questions or comments from the committee? Questions or comments from abutters or other interested members of the public? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I make a motion to vote on this. What do I say?
Approve.
Approve, thank you.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded.
5-8021.
Fine. Excellent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And aye. I think we all said aye. Good, James, you're all set.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Thank you.
The names up there very well, sorry, thank you. Names.
And the last item on the agenda for this evening is 25-A023. It's to replace the roof, siding, trim, deck boards, doors, windows, and deck posts, and paint the house at 189 Center Street, Kelly McGill?
McGill.
McGill.
Yeah.
There's an extra I in there. And Lewis Bay Builders LLC is the agent. So, who do we have tonight?
How you doing? My name's Joseph Stafford, representing Kelly McGill for Lewis Bay Builders LLC. We're proposing to replace some windows to match the existing window style with simulated divided lights. They're going to be Pellas. That's what's existing in the house now. We're also proposing to leave all the clapboard siding, just paint it white. Replace the decks around the perimeter with a boardwalk Landmark Collection, which is an AZAC decking. We're going to leave the front brick fascia that's already, under that wooden fascia as is. We're going to replace that front door, which is on the left side elevation of the house, with a 2/2 1/2 single shaker style exterior door to match the windows as well. There's a outbuilding garage that we will also be proposing to replace those two front gable windows to match the existing house. And that garage will also be painted white to match the house. So
Okay, is that it?
that's it. We're going to be replacing some trim as well. All the decorative trim will stay as is. If any of those areas need to be cut out, we'll mill it to be exact with AZAC, and then at the end of the project, all of the trim will be painted so it'll look consistent. And then there's some decorative pillars on that front deck, and we're going to take them off and mill them exactly to look, exactly the same as they do now. So those will, in AZAC, yep. Everything will really look the same, besides the paint color.
What about the roof?
Roof, we're proposing a more black. For the roof, it's existing cedar shakes right now. It's in horrible, horrible shape. We priced out doing a cedar replacement. It's roughly 5 to 6 times the cost of asphalt. So, the client would really like to be able to do the asphalt. We think that the color that we're proposing is a subtle look. We think it'll blend in nicely with the house. And then we're proposing just K-line aluminum standard gutters to replace the rotting cedar gutters that are there now.
So what kind of gutters, sorry?
K-line, just normal aluminum that you probably see on every house.
Have you looked into fiberglass gutters that mimic the wooden gutters?
We have, so we've looked into a product called DuraGutter. So the cost of that is roughly $75 a lineal foot. So to do a traditional profile like that, you'd be talking, $7,500 aluminum install versus close to like a $45,000, $50,000 install.
And what's the condition of the existing wooden gutters?
They're all rotted out, so where all the valleys come together and all that water's coming down, it just drips right onto the clapboard. So our thoughts are putting the aluminum gutters will protect the integrity of the original clapboard, and hopefully let that last for many more years. And I think eventually the client will look into doing a more traditional gutter, but right now we're just trying to protect the house.
So this is a rather fabulous house.
Yeah, it's really nice looking.
Rare house.
Oh, yeah.
Historically significant house.
Mhm.
That means it is worthy of our very special attention.
Good.
So I'll let other members of the committee speak first. That's my practice here, but I have some things to say about it, too. So who would like to talk first about this application?
Get to talk a second time if we forget something?
Everybody can talk as much as...
I do have a few questions. It is a gorgeous house, and I hadn't read the application carefully enough because I was sort of hoping you would be using the same colors that the house is now. The roof you said is going to be black? Did you say that?
More air black is what we're proposing.
Oh, I would suggest another color.
Okay.
Something that's, they do have colors that more mimic a wooden look. I'm not one for false representation, but I think that the black, in my opinion, is much too dark, particularly when the house is, that, I think. And what about the windows? You said simulated, does that mean applied on the outside?
It does. So the Pella simulated divided is exterior muttons
Yeah.
and interior
Okay.
muttons on the outside of the glass.
Okay.
Yep.
And the color roof. I don't know, but, I see that you have an example of a Gothic revival house that has, that's painted, or building that's painted white.
Yeah, so that's the inspiration for
Yeah.
that era.
Hi, I'm actually the owner, and I'm on the Zoom call as well.
Oh, hi.
I'm an architectural designer, and I love this house. I think it's incredible. I just am so in love with every detail and character of it, and I want to keep it very much the same. I do think that adding white to the house would be absolutely beautiful. I've always wanted that. I'm not trying to make this anything other than what it is. I love every minute of being in this house. If you think that adding the black, the house across the street is very similar, and it has black asphalt shingles, and it's really beautiful. I would not be opposed to doing something that looked more like the cedar shingles in an asphalt. It's just about $150,000 to do the cedar shingles for this house and barn.
Yeah.
And I don't really have that right now, so would love your thoughts.
So I want to ask about the windows. So the windows that are currently in the house, what's the vintage of the windows?
Actually, there's a lot of original windows, but there's actually a good amount of the windows that were replaced probably 15 years ago, which are the 2x2 Pellas. And the ones that we're replacing which I circled on the report that I submitted, all of those seals have failed. So we're only replacing failed windows to match the exact style that's there.
The
So,
windows on the front facade of the house.
Yep.
What's the vintage of those windows?
what was that?
What is the vintage of the windows on the front facade of the house?
The age of them?
Yes.
I think at least two of them that we're replacing is probably 20-year-old windows.
So where are the original windows?
I don't have exact locations, but all of the windows in the house now are 2/2 style windows.
And
So-
we'd be replacing with exactly the same look, the same quality, the divided lights that are the 2/2, so they would look exactly the same as what is there now.
But it doesn't look like you're replacing all the windows in the front. So if you replace some but not all, some of the ones in the
We're
front
replacing
currently.
we're replacing 4 of the windows on the addition that's to the right of the existing front of the house. They're only, when we met with the Peller rep and he went through all of the windows of the house, he said that the addition windows, which was done, as Jake said, 15 years ago, have failed. The other windows need to be reglazed and have a lot of work done to them, but it's only the ones on the addition to the right. If you're looking at the front of the house, which is the existing house, to the right of that is the addition on the second floor, and those windows have failed. And we're just replacing them because they failed, and we're replacing them with exactly what is there.
Yeah, all the original windows that are in decent shape, we're reglazing, and we're going to keep those windows as is.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really see in the application exactly which windows are to be replaced, because I only see one window circled in here.
It's a barn window, is it not?
Well, I see one window circled here, but all the other photos, I don't see anything circled, so I don't know what you're planning to replace. 'Cause
Are we
nothing else is
talking about the
circled.
5 windows in the gable end of the addition? That was the last page that I was looking at.
Two over two windows would certainly be consistent with the age of the house. And the windows are a character-defining feature of the house, so
These two here will be replaced.
Can you show where they are on this?
Yeah, let me see. So these two. And then one of these.
Okay.
Okay.
Victorian details. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know.
I'm gonna see, for some reason, it's not circled on there, but I have,
Confusing application.
yeah, so I circled those for him. So these two,
these will tell you which.
on these top gable here, so, let's see, so these two windows here will be replaced, and they're already Pella 2/2s.
So you're replacing replacement windows.
Yeah, but we're.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then one of these windows, I don't know if it's that one or that one, but they're both Pella 2/2s.
Okay, so my specific question is, are you replacing any original windows on the house?
No.
No,
Okay.
we
All
are
right.
not.
Just,
Okay,
the original windows are actually in better shape than the Pellas from 20 years ago.
that's not surprising.
Not surprising.
Yeah, so those we're able to reglaze and work with.
So, I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Joseph.
Joseph, sorry. So the application says replacement of the following items: roof, siding, but you're not replacing siding?
No, that was my mistake. We're
Okay, exterior trim, but select exterior trim.
very select, so only areas with excessive rot, mostly where the roof valleys shed water on, where those gutters are.
Okay. And deck boards, exterior doors, windows, decorative posts, the DEC means decorative posts? Is that what
Yeah,
that
so the
means?
decorative posts on that front porch, we're actually gonna cut them out flush with the bottom, flush with the top. We're gonna bring them to Mid-Cape Home Centers, and they're gonna mill them to the exact profile.
So do you have experience in creating that gingerbread out of AZEK? How does that work?
Most of that AZEK decorative material is in good shape.
Well, it's not AZEK now, isn't it wood now?
It's cedar.
Right.
Right now. So
Yeah.
if there is a rotted area, what we would do is we'd sand it down, get the rot out of it, and use some type of I don't want to use the word Bondo, but a Bondo-like material.
Consolidant.
Yeah, what is it called?
A consolidant?
A consolidant, and then, blend that in. If there's a large section that's in really rough shape, we couldn't, salvage that, we'd cut it out. I'd bring it to a mill shop, and they'd mill that exact profile. So we're really committed to keeping this exactly the same. So anything that is getting replaced would only be if it was already rotting out completely.
Where are the gutters that you're contemplating replacing? Where are they?
Let me see if I can show you.
Not gonna be on the gable ends.
Yes, we've all been.
Oh, yeah, but we just look from the road, we don't walk up to it.
Okay, I was gonna say, were you able to look at, close up on the gutters? Do you mind if I use your pen? I'm gonna shade in right here where the bottom edge of this gutter here. Here.
They're on the front of the house.
And the sides, they're all, the whole perimeter of the house has cedar gutters.
See, the beauty of fiberglass is it exactly mimics the cedar gutters. You can't, once they're painted, you can't tell. I have them on my house, and I am very fussy about my 1820-ish, 20 era full Cape house and what goes on it and what doesn't go on it. So I had to be convinced that that fiberglass was the way to go. But after they were installed, I don't care how close you are to them, you cannot distinguish them from wood, and they're permanent. So I realize that they cost more than aluminum, but this is a great house. And with the gutters on the front of the house, I think it would be a shame to put aluminum gutters.
Could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Maybe we could propose an amendment on the gutters to and I'll talk to the client, Kelly, as well, just to approve this, but maybe we could make an amendment to replace the front elevation, whatever you can see, even if you pulled up on the driveway, with a gutter that mimics cedar. So we install actually a lot of, it's called DuraGutter. So the owner of DuraGutter is an architect from off Cape, and he designed this type of gutter to mimic a Victorian-style gutter, so the cedar-type gutter. So what I can do, and we've done it in the past, is I can take that profile and get an exact profile out of a thick-gauge aluminum, and it looks exactly like a cedar gutter. That's what it was made for. It was featured on.
Could you bring samples?
I can, yeah. Actually,
Okay.
I'm doing a job right now in South Yarmouth where we're installing them, but I think that could be a good solution. Maybe the rear of the house where it's completely unseen, there's only marshland in the back. Possibly those could be aluminum style, and then the amendment would be to just replace the rear facade with aluminum, and then the front facade wouldn't be much gutters to replace, so I think the cost could work.
Thank you. So we want to work with you and with the applicant as well. But as I said now, I think twice, I'll say it a third time, this is an important house, so
100%,
we're
yeah.
very
Can I make a suggestion?
aware of that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
So, I think that, for me, the application isn't really clear in terms of which windows are to be replaced, which trim is rotten, which gutter is rotten. There's a lot of question marks in my mind that I'm not really clear what I'm approving. I would propose that we table this and come look at the house and do a site visit. Is that possible?
Yeah,
We
so
would, we
I
would
sort,
love that. Actually, one of your participants was at the house as well. And we would be so happy to meet with you at the house. The house, as I mentioned, is so loved, and we're not trying to do anything other than just take care of the kind of the disregard that has happened over the years to it. So I'm surprised because I love this house and want it to look exactly as it does. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to do a cedar roof, but would be happy to meet with all of you so you could see the trim and the things like the partitions in the front that need to be repaired because they've failed and the deck has failed. And your person who came this week who met with me, he saw that as well. So
Guilty, Your Honour.
No.
but to be clear, the windows that we're replacing are on the second floor elevation. Those are the 4 windows facing that front elevation. So we're replacing 20-year-old windows with the same style windows to match the existing house. And as of now, the failed seal on the windows is causing some water to come in, rot the sill out. It's extremely inefficient. So I feel like those windows should have immediate attention. Those are my thoughts, especially since they are not original to the house.
Okay.
You know,
So you're amenable to a site visit. In fact, you would welcome one. So I think the suggestion to table the application until that can happen, hopefully soon, so that you can get on the next meeting's agenda or the one thereafter, at worst case scenario, would be the way to go. So, do I hear a motion to table?
Move to table item 25-A023.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of tabling the application signify by saying aye.
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 And aye.
And Joseph, if you can bring a sample of the Duragutter and any other samples of, will you be there for the?
Yeah, I can be
site
there.
visit?
That's
If you
no
can bring
problem.
samples of what you're proposing that we might not, we take a look at it, the Duragutter, because I just looked it up on my phone, it didn't come up. I have no idea what it looks like. Great to see that, and I would love to go up a ladder and look at the gutters that are rotten.
Awesome.
I'd like to see that because I'm considering replacing an old cedar gutter on my house. It was
Oh, yeah.
put up when there weren't any trees.
Oh, yeah, that's
Now
good.
we're surrounded by trees and it's a nuisance to clean it and it's undersized.
Awesome. Yeah, the Duragutter product is a great product architecturally speaking, so.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So,
So does Joseph want to know what the process is by which we set up the site visit?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I see a question on it.
How about the deck? Was the deck, were you guys in favor of the deck replacement?
why don't we look
at
at
it all.
everything
Okay.
when we're there?
No problem.
Okay.
That sounds good.
So that can be worked out through Lisa?
Yeah, I can send Joseph, you and Kelly a note tomorrow and just find out what some good days and times are for the group to come by, and then we'll try to get something organized soon, hopefully, so you can get on the next agenda and just move forward.
Sounds good.
that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, welcome.
All right,
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
Righty.
Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Jake.
It's a complicated process.
Well, I'll talk to you about it. All right, so now we have to, assuming there were a sufficient number of us present, which is to say 3.
No.
No,
Not yet.
next time.
Until we prove you. Sorry.
More hurdles to
Night.
jump.
So, do we have 3 members currently seated who were present at the January 13th meeting?
I wasn't here.
I was.
So we don't have a quorum to vote on those minutes,
How many
Lisa.
people were at that meeting? Just 3?
I think there were just 3.
If you had 3 at the meeting, isn't 2 of the 3 a quorum based on the attendees? I mean, how does that work?
My understanding is that people who weren't present, but who are members and have read the minutes, can approve them. That's the way we've always conducted business at the town level.
Fine. Okay. All in favor of approving the January 13th?
You want a motion? Yeah.
Yes, I want a motion.
It's going to be Paul. You
Move to approve
I can't vote, I
the,
wasn't
can't.
part
Paul,
of the
you can make a
committee.
motion since you.
move to approve the superb minutes from the January 13th hearing.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. Will the 3 of us vote
Aye.
on that motion?
Aye.
And aye. Okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes for the January 27th meeting.
Motion to approve the even better minutes from January the
They were, 'cause I
27th.
even read those. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And aye. Okay, now.
Thank you.
New business.
Thank you, Lisa. I saw your face fall when you thought, my God, not again.
I get in trouble when they're not posted in time.
All right,
so,
all right,
Yeah, that's
okay.
excellent.
So, under new business, recommendation from Old Kings Highway Administrative Council regarding Chapter 239 of the Acts of 2024 Climate and Energy Siting Legislation. This is a public comment and Q&A session. So I see we have a member of the public here. So, so let me introduce the subject by reading Attorney Wilson's letter, which was dated January 24th of this year. It's addressed to William E. Boland, Chairman, James Trabulski, Vice Chairman, Trabulsi, Peter Williams, Elizabeth McCarty, Robert Wilkins, and Richard Weeks. We are collectively the Old Kings Highway Commission by virtue of the fact that we are chairs of the various Old Kings Highway committees, town committees. And here is the letter. Regarding Chapter 239 of the Acts of 2024, Climate and Energy Siting Legislation, dear Regional Commissioners, as you are aware, on November 21st, 2024, Governor Maura Healey signed into law Chapter 239 of the Acts of 2024, Climate and Energy Siting Legislation, which amended Section 3, Definitions, and Section 10A, Powers, Functions, and Duties of Committees of the Old Kings Highway Regional Historic District Act as amended. The First Amendment added a new definition to Section 3 of the Act, which reads as follows: Solar energy system shall mean a device or structural design feature, a substantial purpose of which is to provide for the collection, storage, and distribution of solar energy for space heating or cooling, electricity generation, and water heating. The Second Amendment added an additional criteria to Section 10 of the Act, which reads as follows: Notwithstanding any general or special law to the contrary, the committee shall give substantial weight to the threat posed by climate change and the Commonwealth's statewide obligation to meet greenhouse gas emission limits and sublimates established under Chapter 21, and when ruling on applications for certificates of appropriateness for solar energy systems. As a result of this legislative enactment, I recommend that in passing upon all future solar energy systems that cannot meet the requirements for a certificate of exemption and/or a certificate of appropriateness, your town committee specifically address in its deliberations this added criterion and record in the written denial the specific overriding factors that support the denial decision. Best regards, James R. Wilson, Administrative Counsel. So, I will start by asking, consistent with my general practice, the members of this committee if you would like, to comment and/or ask questions. Not that I feel capable of answering questions, but do you have anything to say with regard to this legislation and its impact on this committee's actions?
I'm just curious, how would this affect the decision-making process that you've had all along?
I can only reiterate what's stated,
Yeah.
that the operative expression is, we must now give great weight, quote unquote,
Yeah.
to energy, considerations of energy efficiency. When we pass on,
Solar panel, solar.
well, that's, Attorney Wilson's specific focus is on solar energy. There's
Right.
more to the bill, much more to the bill than
Right,
that.
but I guess what I'm asking is, specifically address in its deliberations this added criterion and record in the written denial the specific overriding factors that support the denial decision. Projects have come before this committee where you've denied solar panels, and have you, in your,
I think, from my perspective is that the new legislation specifically focusing on solar panels requires of us to come up with compelling reasons for denial, more compelling than before. We have to have very good bases for our denials.
so.
It's all of this is somewhat unclear at the
Yeah.
moment. It's not, at least in my mind. I tried to wade through the 139 pages of the, and it's very difficult for a layperson to grasp the full import and implications of the legislation. But I do know that there's going to be a governing body established by the state that's going to have oversight over us and our deliberations and our procedures. So we're going to be watched very carefully going forward as to how we proceed, and we had better have damn good reasons for denying solar panels.
Can you think of what those reasons might be?
I think it's going to be case by case. I mean, to some degree, we will conduct our business as we have done before, but with a far greater measure of caution as to how we conduct our business and how we make our decisions. So let me read something that I excerpted from the legislation. Nothing in this section shall prohibit a historic district commission, a commission or board of a neighborhood conservation district, or a manager or organization of unit owners of an association from setting reasonable restrictions, provided, however, that in setting such restrictions, the commission, board, manager, or organization shall give substantial weight to threats posed by climate change and the Commonwealth's obligation to meet the statewide greenhouse gas emission limits and sublimits established under Chapter 21N. So,
Substantial weight, a splendidly imprecise legal term.
I am told that substantial weight does have legal import, but as yet, I'm not clear as to exactly what that import is. This is all very new to all of us, so we're trying to work our way through it, and all I can say is that we will comply with the law as
Of course.
when the law is fully explained to us so that we understand exactly what our obligations are under the law, we will comply with the law.
Amen.
I would like to comment that When I first became aware of this legislation, I asked the person who made me aware of it if substantial weight was defined anywhere in the legislation. And the answer was, I don't believe so. I went into the legislation online and doing a search for the term substantial weight. It is mentioned, there are 3 instances in which it is mentioned in the legislation. One of them is the instance that Bob just read, which says nothing in this section shall prohibit, et cetera. So we're left with a standard that is loosely defined and subject to interpretation. And I don't think the legislature did us any favors here, or did the solar people any favors here. It's just opened up a can of worms, and we're going to have to wade through it.
Other comments or questions from the committee? Well, let's hear from the public.
Do you mind if I sit at the table?
You're absolutely entitled to sit wherever you want.
All right, for the record, Liz Argo, member of the Yarmouth Select Board and a former member of the Yarmouth Old Kings Highway Historic Committee. And I think what my comment would be that there is a test case in the wings that will be coming before you again. And the hope is that it won't have to be the test case, because that is going to cost the persons who would bring that forward money. And it's the Susan Starkey case is the sort of the one that we're all looking at, because she took such care not to put design anything that would be visible from Route 6A. But the only other option was her side yard, which faces Willow Street. Even though it's about 30 yards off of Willow Street, it does front Willow Street, so there would be a couple of panels visible. And so that's the one that's going to need everybody to come up with a really good reason for denial. And because they're all in the historic district. And actually there is a similar installation that was approved that is on visible from 6A, which is I forget his name now, Peter Barnard. He has the big white house that's across from the church on Church Street. And he's going to be putting them on his garage. And those are visible from 6A. And we approved it, and it was, actually they brought it to the commission, and the commission upheld our approving it. Have I got that right, Bob?
You've got the location right, yes.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that
It was considered minimally visible from 6A
Yes,
there.
yeah. So, but the question, and that's where, again, as John has pointed out, we don't have any real definitions to work with, which hasn't ever done us any favors, really. So, getting back to my comment, I maybe, of course, you can't really discuss it. You could discuss it as a committee right here, right now. I'm happy to excuse myself so that you don't have a member of the public present. And you could even, well, you can't because you didn't advertise it. But that, I think, is going to be the tough one to decide, and that's going to be your guide and every other committee's guide going forward, for that matter. And I would also encourage you to recognize, and I think Bob did, that it's not just the solar panels which are being pointed out, but efficiency as well. So a lot of the discussion about the windows and so on will become more important as we go forward.
Yeah, there's a lot more to the bill than just solar panels. There's a lot of it doesn't have any bearing on what we do. A lot of what's in the legislation. There's talk about, electric vehicles and natural gas and other things that aren't relevant to our procedures here. But there are sections of it that are relevant, and I think that, I've always made a point of stating that we have been consistently moving ever closer to acceptance of solar energy on roofs of houses in the historic district. There's statistical evidence that bears that out, and I've pointed that out publicly before, and I'll say again, since during my tenure as chairman of this committee, we've approved 92% of solar panel applications that have come before us, and I expect that number to go up. Ideally, in a perfect world, it would be nice if we were to approve 100%. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but it would be nice if it were true, if we were able to do that consistent with our charge and our mission, which is clearly outlined in the bulletin. Attorney Wilson thought there might be a lot of people here tonight to comment on this, and
I don't
clearly-
think anybody knew it was on the agenda. Unfortunately, it's going to come as a shock to the people who I'm in touch with who do care about this, that it was on the agenda, which is not any fault of yours or Lisa's.
It was on the agenda too, for the previous meeting.
It's on the agenda 2
as
weeks
well.
ago.
Yes, but unfortunately, nobody looked at the agenda.
That's not our fault.
So
Or Lisa's
indeed,
fault.
Maybe that
and I
speaks to
walked
the
into
issue.
I walked into tonight and saw it on the agenda, and I was shocked. And again, this is not a reflection on anybody here. It's something we're struggling with as the Yarmouth Select Board, is that we have information that it's there, but people are not knowing to look for it.
Well, you know, Liz, you can lead a horse to water, but
You can't make
him drink. So
No.
we did, I think, our due diligence.
Oh, you
And
absolutely did.
So, but I'm not surprised. I think Attorney Wilson will be surprised. He was expecting a lot of people here tonight. And,
Yeah, well, I would go so far as to say, if there had been a better announcement, not from y'all, because you did exactly what you were supposed to do, but if somebody who cares, like myself, or Ms. Starkey, or any of the people who are working in the installation business and whose lives depend on it, they would have been here if they'd known, but it just didn't hit the papers, if you will.
But in the meantime, focusing on the positive, it's gratifying to know that that you, Liz, who were and have been a prime mover for this legislation, agree that it's in some respects imprecise, and we have to try to figure out how to navigate with a document that's not fully specific on what's required of us.
There's a lot of room for interpretation here. We don't look at this issue on a global basis. We look at it on the basis of an individual property, one at a time. And one could debate what impact a couple of solar panels on one particular house would have on the objective, one way or the other, and it's probably minimal.
Well,
I didn't understand what he was saying.
I think what he means is it's symbolic
Yeah.
Yeah.
to some degree.
I didn't understand your point. One or two solar panels would not, say that again?
Let's say we have a house comes before the committee that wants to put up 20 solar panels.
How many?
20,
Okay.
okay? And the sense of the committee is that 15 of them are fine. Okay, so what we have as a bone of contention is 5 panels. Are those, if you give substantial weight to those 5 panels, are they going to affect climate change one way or the other? No.
May I respond to that, though,
Sure.
Mr. Chair? Because that's actually what we're dealing with Ms. Starkey's property, and the fact that she's been asked to remove a solar panel. and the numbers don't work anymore because they tend to work together. For one thing, they're called strings, so they depend on each other's power. But also, it no longer meets her energy usage. It falls short.
Yeah, but that's an economic issue, not a
It's
not a
totally,
climate change
totally
issue.
an economic issue. But they therefore.
It's not our purview.
It isn't, but one would then say, well, why would you deny the one panel? Because it's visually upsetting to you. And I think that that's where we're right back where we were, which is your aesthetics versus my aesthetics versus climate change, I guess. So when you have to write your denials, you are up against how you put that into your words that are acceptable with the new regulations. Is it acceptable with the new regulations to say we just don't like that extra panel?
But,
type
you know, it is interesting that the legislation is focused on climate change, and by far, I mean, Susan Starkey's motivation might be different, but most people are motivated by the savings.
Economics.
That's their motivation.
It is absolutely.
And, so
more.
there's a dichotomy there.
And I would also point out, sorry, I'm doing what I always do, which is jump on you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That part of the legislation that is very heavily leaning towards the social justice issue.
That's true, too.
And so part of the reason for this legislation is to cure that injustice. And a lot of the people that we've seen come in wanting solar panels need them because of financial economic reasons.
What I think, if I may
Please, and I'll try
amplify
to
what you
keep
said,
my mouth
what's
shut.
in the legislation is reference to moderate and low-income families. So that's a consideration.
So that they will offset their energy expenses by installing solar panels, but they have to pay for the solar panels.
No, they don't anymore.
Lease them or
They
something.
can lease them, and that Cape Light Compact has and the Cape Cod 5-cent savings banks have terrific loan programs. So the idea that they're now affordable for almost everybody, and that's why we're seeing such an uptick in it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, to be continued, I guess.
Yep.
We'll have to see how this all plays out, and I think that from my perspective, and I suppose I'm somewhat prejudiced because I sit on this side of the table, but it seems to me that we have already responded to the legislation even before it actually becomes law in our recent decisions. And I see you nodding your head, Liz, so I guess you would agree with that.
So far, you're what would the right expression be?
Batting 100.
Not 0 for 0, because batting 100, it's indeed.
Yeah.
And I would again reiterate, though, that your test case will be back shortly, so.
All right,
know what will
so,
happen there.
anyone else have anything more to say
I
about
have one
this?
more thing. I want to say
Through the
thank you.
Chairman's suggestion that this is to be continued at a later date.
All right.
So Liz has one more thing, and then I have
Oh, yeah.
one thing.
I want to say thank you to everybody on the board, because, and you too, John, for coming back, because I know you were on the board before. And it's been.
It wasn't.
You were not an alternate?
No.
There was a John Grady then who preceded you.
Not in this life.
Okay, no, I beg your pardon. There's a John Grady who was an alternate, and I thought, oh, he served before. Okay, at any rate. But thank you for your leadership, Bob. You have been
Very nice to
absolutely
hear.
terrific.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I think in light of this new legislation, you should all feel like you have been doing all the right things, because you have been. You've been working towards accepting it. And it's been hard because it wasn't something that was part of the package. And now you're having to think maybe it's going to have to be. So thank you from me as a climate change person who's scared for our planet.
Not that this is germane to the present discussion, but one of the things that's in the legislation is green materials. And so we're going to have to be more responsive to accepting of materials that
Understanding
are.
what they are.
We have to know what
Clarifying
they, we have to know what they are, and we have to be more receptive to the application of green materials in the historic district. So, there we are. Okay.
One comment is, I thought, we still are short an alternate. And I thought you were going to put it on the agenda for tonight to recommend, but you didn't,
Well,
so.
it's not on the agenda.
But I
the-
thought,
if-
2
but
weeks ago, I suggested you put it on, but do you want to put it
Well,
on for next meeting?
I think it will be moot, because I think by the next meeting, we will have our final member installed.
That's correct.
So I don't know if I can amplify
It's on
that
the-
further.
Yeah, no, it's on the agenda for the select board tomorrow, which is public, so feel
Okay.
free.
So I can state that it's on the agenda for the select board. Liz Argo's replacement is is
okay.
going to be recommended.
Okay.
Does that happen tomorrow night?
Yep, tomorrow night,
Tomorrow night.
yes.
I didn't know
So
if you were
stay
making
tuned. You only have to wait one more night.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you all.
So